Great. So our next guest is a dear friend of mine. I've been running the show The Gas at Great Scott for almost 14 years before all this happened, and then Great Scott announced that they were closing. But now my next guest is working to see if he can save it, and I'm excited to hear all about it. Please put your hands together and give a warm welcome to Carl Lavin.
Hey. Hi, everybody.
Great to see you.
Yeah, same. This is fun. It's literally the first time I've bothered to put any kind of, like, any other time. It's just everywhere, and it's like, and I feel like I've got like an oil drum's worth of product in there right now just to keep it under control. But that's show business, right?
Yep. we both look like generals from different.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was, and I was relieved to find out that I was like at least on one of the Allies' sides, which we didn't figure out which war it was from, but
I think you're
definitely
World War I.
Definitely the good guys.
Yeah, you look very stiff upper lip.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't care for the Huns.
Yeah. Keep calm, all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely look like honestly, I probably look like I'm on. I guess I could be on either side of the Civil War.
Yeah.
Both American, right?
Depends on who you ask right now, right?
That's true. Yes. What's going on with Great Scott? This is some exciting news, potential, anyways.
Well, yeah. I mean, so basically, the idea was when we found out. Obviously, when Great Scott wasn't going to announce it wasn't going to reopen, the landlords over there were just kind of like, hey, you don't need to be worried. Just sign a lease, and you can still be a rock club, and you can still have, and you can still do things. And Frank, the owner, was a little nervous about that, and it was uncertain. And he's 76, and he doesn't want to necessarily take a loan just to find out that there was another surge or something along those lines. So he declined that offer. But when I, found out that that was something that was maybe potentially in the cards, I decided that I was gonna check in with those folks. And Carrie, my wife Carrie, pointed out this organization called Mainvest, which is it's a crowd investing versus more than like GoFundMe. It's actually, if you invest $100, you will get a return on your investment. Not only will you get your money back, but you'll get a return on it, as opposed to just straight up donating, which is a little bit more my speed for something like this. Like, I knew that there would be an appetite and an enthusiasm for saving the playground, as it were, for trying to keep Great Scott going. But the idea of doing like just a straight up GoFundMe seemed a little bit like, hey, you guys want to buy me a liquor license? Like, like,
right.
But the idea that where it's like something that was always so community driven, and so such an important, like, just it was important to the community. It was important to it, that doing something along these lines where if you want it to happen, you can get on board and help it happen, and it's yours. Like, you've got a piece of it for a while there, and we'll just see how it plays out.
Yeah, and I think that the website for the organization is up on the live stream now. But just for if in case this is posted later without that, where should people go to?
So I mean, it's mainvest.com. I don't actually know all the slashes, because why would you know something like that when you're trying to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars? But it's mainvest.com. Maybe try /Great Scott and see where that takes it. I don't think it'll be porn, but you never know.
Get back to porn, probably.
Right, exactly. So, but yeah, so the campaign's up there, and we're in about, I don't know, we've raised through investments, we're about like around $82,000 in 3 days, which is kind of staggering. And we'll just see. I don't get the feeling that Great Scott continuing as it was is exactly the landlord's first choice for occupying the space, but I don't
Yeah.
I don't think they are like completely opposed to it. And so the idea to, to raise this first round was to, to demonstrate that, we'd be able to cover rent while not being able to be open, and also do some of do the soundproofing that they've always really, really hoped Frank would do. Not only, I mean, Frank, just he never did it because not only was it expensive, but it
Yeah.
would necessarily require that he was shut down for however long to do it.
Right.
So not only are you spending the money, but then you're also losing that revenue. And I mean, Great Scott's not exactly a cash cow over there. It does well, and it's but
Yeah. No.
being able to put the soundproofing in now,
Yeah.
you don't really need to worry as much about not being open because
Yeah.
that's not even a little bit of a problem right now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so the idea is to try and uh, make it as easy for the landlords to say yes and make it as hard as for them to say no. So
Yeah.
we'll see how
And
it goes.
let me just say it is mainvest.com /b/great-scott-alston.
You know what? Don't bother. That's way too much work.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. Like I wouldn't even.
Search
Yeah,
Great.
that's yeah.
Is there a link on the Great Scott website?
It's not on the website. There's barely like no, it's not on the website. You can find it on the Facebook,
Yeah.
on Great Scott's Facebook for sure. And so you can find it that way. Absolutely.
Tiny had a question he wanted to ask. Tiny?
Okay.
Yeah, buddy. How you
Hey
doing,
man,
Carl?
I'm doing well, Tiny. I love that shirt.
Yeah, man. These are selling like crazy, I bet.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. They give yeah, I think we sold almost $50,000 worth of shirts.
Wow. That
Uh,
actually leads to my question.
Wow.
I was like really pulled in by the outpouring of love
Yeah.
and just the even online stuff and then the dollars and all this stuff. How has that affected you seeing so many people, like from Michael's article to Brooklyn Vegan to just dummies like me reposting?
Mhm.
How much has that emotionally buoyed your spirits?
Yeah, I mean it's been quite a month. Let's put it that way. I was definitely taken aback by the reaction when when they announced that it was going to be closing. I expected to hear some, get some messages and some things like that from people I've known for a long time. But, I mean, just all the comments and everything like that from people that I'm sure I've been in the room with, but wouldn't simply absolutely don't know,
Sure.
and how what it's meant to them, and how sad they were about it have been, and then pivoting to um, what it's like now, where it's this level of commitment and interest in trying to revive it. I did definitely get a lot of people asking, can we just start a GoFundMe and save it? And I'm like, he's not doing it. Frank is just he has decided that that's that, and he's just not going to ramp back up
Yeah.
into continuing forward.
Yeah. But he's been
And so,
cooperative with the liquor license and stuff like that. He's working with you guys.
oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like that. I mean, so that deal was. I mean,
Yeah.
my conversation with him about what he was going to, what the selling the business, which is the brand and the infrastructure and the liquor license and the intellectual property, and as much as there is. The number that he quoted me was so ridiculous that I would have to be an asshole to not even try. Like
Yeah.
I would be like, well, asshole, that's ridiculous. Like it would almost be insulting to him to not try and figure out a way to take advantage of it, because he and I and Tim, as you know, Tim, a lot of you know Tim. And if you've ever been to the Gas, he's bartending, so Tim.
Yeah.
And so, we've all been at it a long time together. And Frank was, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it continue. I'm not going to get in. I'm not diving in on this. It's too uncertain for me. He's also still got O'Brien's to look after.
Yeah.
So, he can't really try to keep two venues going while neither one of them are generating any revenue. And he's the landlord. Like, he owns the building that O'Brien's is in, so he's got a little bit more of a friendlier
Yeah.
landlord situation there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So I knew that there would be some kind of like, all right, let's go. But what's happened has been overwhelming, and even talking with the folks in Mainvest, who incredible people. Like, the more I learn about them, the more, the more this has gone on, the more people I hear from, like, friends that have worked with them. My friend Bob Logan, that I've known since I moved here in 6th grade, and opened up some studios in Medford, Malden, feels like. Anyway, but he worked with those guys, and he's going to be the one that's going to be kind of really focusing on helping me with the soundproofing. And yeah, just, a lot of people are working with them, and it's what I couldn't have been more in love with that organization. So I'm psyched for them that no matter how this plays out, if, whether or not the landlords agree to give me the lease, that Mainvest is definitely going to get a lot more attention because of what they are capable of, and what what they do for communities and for businesses. So that's been pretty cool.
Yeah, being able to sort of harness, financially, community interests in a cool way that's accessible.
Yeah, and as I say, like, it's, they it's, they say, it's more about Main Street than Wall Street. I don't know where they got that, but it really, it hits home when it's literally the mission of the organization to, it's not trying to fund, the initial round of capital for a tech startup or something. It really is trying to make it so that somebody who wants to open a brick and mortar situation, and start a business, in a community, has the opportunity to, and then the community can support it in a meaningful way. So it's pretty awesome.
Can I ask you to maybe share some stories of Great Scott over the last almost 2 decades that you've been doing stuff there?
Yeah.
Touching.
You don't have to answer my question, but you can't stop from asking.
Well, I don't. Yeah. Well, there was that time that a bunch of jerks went up on stage and went playing for a while, and everyone was like, "Rah, that was cool."
Every Friday for 14 years.
Yeah, right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's tough, because, like, even like when when I was talking with a lot of people at the closing, it's always hard to really pick anything out specifically, because by definition, and if anyone, I had a great conversation with Luke O'Neill, when it was when after the closing, and and he was just like, yeah, asking something like that is just being like, hey, you ever read a book? And it's like, name a book you read, and it's kind of like, talking about something specifically necessarily requires that you're excluding hundreds, if thousands of other things. I think what probably most collectively I take away from it is that I had absolutely no business doing this. I had no background in it. I didn't have any booking. I was working for MetLife when I started booking, the plan once a week, and then then just, I was like, you guys ought to be a rock club. I'll do that. And I was still working in MetLife. I was like, that, like, booking Great Scott was a hobby-ish. And just being able to walk, like, literally walk ass backwards into something that I had no business being able to be involved in. I should never have been able to meet people like you guys, the bands that have played, the people that have worked there. Like, I should still just be like some Red Sox loving dork that wears khakis and just went blissfully unaware through life, of what was really out there, and what the best part of Boston really is. And without something like, and then collectively, that's really the whole, that's my Great Scott story, and my favorite Great Scott experiences. that it happened, so.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an amazing place. And, I know I've definitely felt really lucky to be involved all these years.
Yeah, you have been.
You're probably the only person, one of the only people anyways, that's not a comedian that I've had this experience with, of like so often at the gas, like we'll be in the back watching the set and you'll feed me lines. And it's a fun collaborative part of being a host, is like when like someone's on stage talking about something and just talking to the person you're next to. I did it a ton with John Paul Rivera, who I hosted my mic with for so many years, but just like talking, talking and riffing, and then being able to go on stage and immediately just like take that, those ideas and present them to an audience is one of the funnest things. And
Yeah, no, I mean, believe me, if I had even a little bit of the balls that any of you guys ever had, I might have tried it ever once myself. So even just the idea that something that I said, that you said, made people laugh, I'd be like, I am great.
You're just one of those cowards.
Like, yeah, no, absolutely, no doubt.
Club.
There is literally nothing about it. I remember when I was like, like middle school, high school, I would tell somebody a joke that I had thought of, but I would say that someone else said it just in case they didn't like it.
Yeah.
And when they liked it, I would be like, all right, it's not, it's fine. I don't even care that you don't know that that was me. I'm just glad that I didn't find out that you thought I was not funny.
Well, and that's
so
like
it's going to be that guy. It was going to be that guy that wasn't funny.
I love doing that. What we're talking about too, because like I love like when you give me a joke and then it works. That's so much fun. But when you give me a joke, we're both like, I don't know, and then I go on stage and it dies.
Oh, I love it.
We get to enjoy it. It's
fun
how badly it does. That is almost as sweet as when it goes well.
No, I mean, no, absolutely. I get to enjoy that because that's you doing it.
Yeah.
I can sit over here just being like, nope, that guy had that joke. Like, it's like literally the same, exactly the same thing of just, I'm not the one up there looking at everyone just being, nope. And I don't know if I ever could. And that's why I've always really admired everything that's been happening at the gas. I've always really, like really, 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 it's one of my favorite things that's ever come about at Great Scott was the fact that we put this together, or I said, hey, why don't you do a comedy show, and then you did, and then it didn't suck after a while, and that was and
I mean, it definitely changed my life, and also you gave me a lot of chances, because it did suck for 2 years. For 2 years it was rough.
So I mean, I think that's obviously. I mean, it's. I mean, we joke about that a lot. It was growing pains for sure. But I mean, I always look at it as, it's like it's the same. It's just like with a band playing their the first couple of shows. Like they're never gonna be their best when they start out. And if they don't have the opportunity to keep getting at it and figuring out what works and what doesn't, or anything like that, then they're just going to stay a shitty band the whole time. So
I had so many friends that were in so many bad bands that I developed like a way of dealing with it, where when someone who was in a band that I knew was going to be bad, like they were like, oh, I got a new band, I'd be like, oh, cool. And then at the first show that they would play, I would stand right up front the whole set, and then I would just fucking leave as soon as they were done and not talk to them. And the second show, I would watch them, and then if they came up to me and they were like, what do you think? I could say, oh, you guys have gotten a lot better since the first time I saw you. And that would be true. If it was very praise.
Comedy too.
Yeah.
You could do that
but also,
for
like,
sure.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair to everything too, back then, it wasn't even that the shows weren't as good. It was just that I've always said that, God, I wish the Golden Tee guys were funnier, and more like Stadler and Waldorf, rather than just a couple guys that were just obliviously douchey enough to keep playing Golden Tee while the show's still going on starts. And I like those guys a lot, but I mean,
me too.
I wish that was that turned out to be a positive nostalgic turn of things back then.
Well, I think it is nostalgic now that it's over,
Yeah, right. Kind of all is, really.
When it was happening, I was like, this is cool. But in retrospect, it wasn't cool.
Right.
But I like it more now than I did when it was happening.
I mean, how long did it take before we even brought in the patio chairs
Yeah.
and like that kind of a thing? Like I just remember,
For a
I
while.
picked Todd Barry up at the airport for a show at Sinclair, and we were talking about when he was at Great Scott, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that was that weird place where I seriously almost tried to do a Todd Barry impersonation in front of a bunch of people."
I thought it was pretty
he was like, "Oh, that was that place with all the patio furniture, and it was like a frat house back porch, but right in front of my stage." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, you remember?" Like,
yeah. Yeah, I remember that was, and we had those. We would for a while we used the patio chairs before we got the chairs that we used. They closed, and every time we had a headliner, one of those chairs would break. And I believe Todd Barry, it was a comedian, PJ Brown, who has a very loud laugh, and which Todd was very distracted by. He was sitting right up front, and then after about 20 minutes into Todd's set, that his chair collapsed, which was just a fun thing to watch Todd Barry react to.
Yeah, crowd work though, right? Like, I mean, that's the gig.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, like, it's kind of funny to think that something as simple as buying 50 folding chairs is kind of what, like, it really. I feel like everything at that point kind of like moved forward. It made it feel more legitimate to the people who were coming. It felt a little bit more. It probably was make it easier for you to get people to come back over and do sets at the during the gas and everything. And just. I mean, I don't know how many more shows with patio furniture we were going to be able to pull off. I don't know. Hannibal Buress wasn't going to come back a second time if we were just trying to pull that kind of move and everything. I remember how disappointed Christopher Finnegan was when he saw the setup, because he was just like, my family's going to be here. Like,
he blew that one so bad.
This is just not what I had in mind. Like, and what a super sweetheart. Like, he was just like he was. You could tell he was bummed for however long, and then he was just like, well, this is it, so let's go for it. And I remember he had a great set, and he seemed like he had a good time. But I mean, it was that's the difference between being like literally just throwing shit against the wall, and at the very least making it look like it's a real grown-up professional presentation kind of a thing. So
like I felt like he was nice then. But like knowing what I know about comedy now, he was way nicer than he. We really did not know what we were doing, and really, really butchered that one. And he still had a great set. He still did well.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, again, we were doing what we. I mean, at least for me, anyway. Yeah. Doing what we thought was the best we could do, and then it turns out, no, that was not. That is not the best you can do, guys. Buy some chairs.
Yeah. There was also a third voice back then that was very loud, that often made the wrong choices. And I would just be like, oh yeah, whatever. You're smarter than me, so sure.
You know more about history than I do.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing the show and just for everything.
Absolutely. Thank you. This has been fun. This is as brave as I've been about something like this in a long time. And so I'm really glad to be able to see everybody and be a part of this. And honestly, genuinely cannot wait. Like, Tim was like, so what do you think? Like, what do you think? I'm like, it's gonna be the gas 7 nights a week, obviously. Like, it's gonna, what are we gonna? We can't sell it out anyway, so we might as well just do the gas.
Yeah, I feel like our numbers are
perfect,
approved.
Quarantine, specifically.
Yeah, we get enough. Yeah, some of the capacities 210. I think we would get enough people for about 6.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just do it. 2 shows a night, 7 days a week. We can do it.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I think that's I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Honestly, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Genuinely can't wait for it to happen. If it can happen. It would be it would be meaningful on so many different levels that it's hard to dive into right now. But so
Yeah.
can't wait and hope it happens.
Yeah, well, it's for sure one of the first things that I've felt optimistic about in a long time. So thanks for everything that you're doing.
Got it. Thank you.